Today, we're going to be discussing about top three books that everybody should definitely read on 2022. So, the first book that I'm going to talk to you about is known as Rich Dad Poor Dad. There is a book that is written by Napoleon Hill, and that book is known as Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, the person has actually interviewed many people and has took all the concepts, all the learning of the highly successful people, and then made the extract and then put it into a single book. And this book teaches about what the rich teaches their kids about money, what the poor and middle class do not. A single book like this can help you learn. For example, if you want to get teachings of hundreds and thousands of years, you can actually have with the help of a book. So, the first book that I'm going to talk to you about today is known as Rich Dad Poor Dad. This book is such a gem because the first book that I myself read 6 years ago was this book. When I started my journey, this was the first book that changed my mindset, and it was so important for me because I learned two concepts. The first one is assets, the difference between assets and liabilities. Now, why should we read books? The answer to this is to gain knowledge. It improves our focus and concentration. What happens is that, suppose you want to know the mindset of a person and the whole life story of a person, you get in a simple book. For example, I am going to share with you three books today. Because I'm reading this book right now. This is known as Psychology of Money and is such a gem because whenever you start reading books like this, you are going to be getting a lot of knowledge. And not just that, for example, there is a book that is known as Rich Dad Poor Dad. You should definitely read the book. And I'm going to give you top three book recommendations that will be helping you up. And the second lesson was about the four quadrants that Robert Kiyosaki has told us. Now, if you want to learn about all that, you can easily learn. For example, let me give you some insightful things. What if what if I tell you that the house that you live in is a liability? Now, whatever we know is it's an asset that is being told by us all over again and again and again. But actually, it takes money from us. Whatever gives us money, or if it gives us a cash flow, it is an asset. And if not, it is a liability. So you have to understand all of that if you want to have a great idea. You can actually use all of that because this is a book that gives you that plants the seed of thinking of financial literacy. Not just that, this book is one of the best-selling books and you can actually learn about this, and this is very inexpensive. And you can see it's been nearly 25 years since Robert Kiyosaki wrote this book that is known as Rich Dad Poor Dad, that has made changes in personal finance arena. And this is a great book, and you can see it explores the myth that you need to earn a high income to become rich. It challenges the beliefs that your house is an asset, and that I was telling you about the parents why they can't rely on the school system to teach their kids about money. Defines once for all asset and liability and different things. Now, the second book that I'm going to talk to you about is known as Sapiens. This book is written by Yuval Noah Harari. It's a brief history of humankind. That is, 100,000 years ago, there were six species of humans. That is, now we know what we know as Homo sapiens sapiens, that is a modern human. Things were not like that. There were Neanderthals, there were different species of humans. So, how do we got into money? Why do we trust in gods? How we made gods? How we actually thought about God? How we generated the different concepts about God? We get a brief all of the history. This book is a mix of facts and good insightful writing, so you can actually learn about it. For example, if we go on to this, you can see it's a New York Times bestseller. It's from a renowned historian that comes from a groundbreaking narrative of humanity, creation and evolution. And if you love human evolution or behavioral science or behavioral psychology or human behavioral psychology or human behavior, how people have actually thought, how people have been coming through different generations, and all of that, then I can assure you this book is a gem for you. See, 100,000, as I was telling you, this book is about 100,000 years ago, at least six different species of humans inhabited Earth. Yet today, there is only one, Homo sapiens. But now what we can say is that it's Homo sapiens sapiens, which is the modern human being. What happened to the others and what may happen to us. Most books about the history of humanity pursues and either a historical or a biological approach, but Yuval breaks the mold with his highly original book. Because what happens is that previously, whenever we used to read a book, people used to write in two forms. Either it's on the historical purpose, I have not read it, but I have read about the biological one. But this book is such a gem, and you can definitely learn about it. And the natural selection that is being there forever. And we can also see, let me just show it to you, that onto the few decades humans have begun to bend laws of natural selection that has governed life for the past 4 billion years. We're acquiring the ability to design not only around us but also ourselves. Being a biotechnologist, I would say that yes, it's very much true. We are doing, and there is a term called CRISPR and gene editing that we all do in our labs, and you can learn about it. And if you want, I can share more things about you actually. And how can I say things about you? Because if you have your own DNA test or haplographic test, then you can learn more about you from where you have originated and how your ancestors were and where they have traveled. And not just that, you can also find your brothers or sisters, or you might have dated your ex-girlfriend. You might not know what have the things, because it's so huge, it's so dynamic, and it's so awesome. The third book that I'm going to give you, all these things, all these books are personal books that are personal to me, are really my favorite. And not just that, you can learn so much from them. The third book that is not a religious book, at least for me, because I got to learn so many things from that book, and I definitely want to recommend it to you. That's the Bhagavad Gita. Now, many people claim that it's a religious book, but I don't think so. It's a religious book. It is a book about lifestyle, about much more about a lifestyle of people the way we know. And if you want, we are going to be talking about this topic in other video, because it's going to be so much broad. We will be learning so much things about this, and I just had a keen interest. I did so much research, put in tens and hundreds of hours into it, so to learn about all this. Now you can see it's one of the best Gitas and all that. So don't read it as a spiritual book. It is a kind of a spirit, have an accent, a spiritual touch or an accent. Not just that, you should definitely see it as a lifestyle book, because you absorb the main teachings of the book. I can assure you, you do not need any other self-help book with the, because there is no comparison of this book. And not about this book, but about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So what I can tell you is that there are different people have different in different ways, but you can see it's one of the highest best-selling world and people, and you can see the world's first blessed and all that. You can see the Bhagavad Gita. You can see the people, different people have different in their own languages, but it's the largest selling edition in the Western world also. So you can read it, and I am showing you all the Amazon.com links, because I think that all the people from the whole world should read all these three books, especially the Sapiens one, because this is a book that is just marvelous. And now this books which helps, this Bhagavad Gita helps us in understanding our own self and other things. For example, our individual self, the material world and the actions, the individual soul and the material world and the actions in this world and time. So this explains the nature of consciousness and this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. So if you can relate it with people about you and about the people around you, then I think it's going to be so much effective for you. If you learn it in a way that's going to be helping you up, these three books are going to be life changing for you for 2022. So these are the top three books that I would say you should definitely read. And if you are not an avid reader, it's okay. Take time, at least read 10 pages a day. Then just go ahead and do it, and one day you will be able to read much faster and you're going to be able to grasp much more information. Now, I'm going to give you this little fact. When Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were asked, what's the one superpower? What's the one superpower they want? Do you know what they told? They told that we want to read faster. We want to read faster so that we can grasp much more information. And whenever we can do that, we will be able to become better version of ourselves. Now, if you want to be the better version or the good version or the better version of yourself, so if you want to be the better version of yourself, you should definitely start reading, because now with the whole digital era, you should also give time for yourself, keep time for yourself. If you don't like reading books, it's okay. I myself at first didn't like reading books, so I switched to Audible. If you like to use Audible, you can use it. And you can see that all of these books, for example, of Sapiens, you can see there is an Audible version. For example, if we go on to Rich Dad Poor Dad, there is an Audible version, and you can start your free trial. And I'm not going to give you an affiliate link. Later, I might put in. Let's see if I want to put in or not. So go to the description below and check if I have put a Audible link up there or not. So that was all for today. See you on another video. Thanks for watching this video. I hope that you have understood and got a great insight and a great depth and understanding about the whole thing. I hope that you have got a great valuable information from it. See you again on another video.